Hello Internet, Demagen here, and welcome back to Old Charlian, where we are probably going to end up doing a job much bigger than the quest would have us believe. It says it's no job too small, but I don't believe it. Though our friends are searching for refined adamantite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet your requirements once they have arrived. In the meantime, is there aught else we can do to be of service? Ah, you already done more than enough. But I had to say though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about Allegan technology. You there, the lad with the red eyes and matching hair, you seem to know more than your average scholar. That's a little experience. If only Master Carcol know how right he was. While he and Graha establish a rapport, why don't we help with the preparations for the Great Exodus? Indeed, this was me going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favour. As confident as I am that we will succeed, we must be ready for every eventuality. This would also be an opportunity to familiarise ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse, and, if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the adamantites. Well, ain't you a bunch of helpful buggers? If you're in mind to lend a hand, I know where you ought to go. Charlotte Hamlet is lousy with researchers and scholarly types, busying themselves preparing for the Exodus. Pah, that lot need all the help they can get. Well then, off we go. Ba, 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 ba. As expected, we're being sent up to the hamlets. Why do you say as expected? Well, because there's an aetheryte there. It's very rare that they put an aetheryte in an encampment somewhere where they're not going to have something for you to do. 815 yarms to the north. That's a lot of yarms, to be fair. This is actually probably going to be on this level, isn't it? Isn't it? Just about? Did I just miss it on my first time round? That wouldn't be it. Oh no, maybe not. No, it's going to be up in the medial circuit. Oh, sorry, Alphano. In order to protect the secrets of the central circuit, the researchers must navigate a bewildering maze of paperwork before they're permitted to return to the surface. I suppose it's no different than any other aspect of Charlotte society, or teaching in general. We do love our bureaucracy. It's very much a mirror of the city above, which is perhaps how it came to be called Charlayan Hamlets. What a quaint little settlement this is. A shame it is hidden underground. I don't mind a bit of heavy lifting, but I draw the line at paperwork. Someone just wave a sheaf of documents at me and I'll put my lance through it. And my weapon. No. As surprised as I was to learn the former plan to send everyone to the moon, I can't imagine how the common folk must feel about it. Do my senses deceive me? In the shadow of yon corner? One can but hope this leadeth not to mischievous undertakings. What does he spy? Does he spy Loporits? From what I can tell, a lot of the people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scholar Monteshane mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting in anyone's way. Let's meet by the aetheryte once our work is done. Okay, oops. Steady currents. Helping with the arc. Even all the power Master Cockles managed to squeeze out of the ether earlier, it's still not enough apparently. Now I hear the final days have arrived. Horrible creatures running rampant all over. If only we'd begun the Exodus sooner. People are dying. There'll be no end to it if we don't fulfill our duties. But we will. We spent years preparing for this moment. Believe in the plan, and all will be well. A fine sentiment. Oh, hello. Are you one of the new helpers? Working on the ether burner. Oh dear, I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I'd choose that over my current duties. Checking and loading samples day in, day out, it's tiring, thankless work. Still, no one will be cross if I misplace a few legumes and what have you. The firm's got enough on their plate as it is. Not with deciding who gets to board the Ark and when. Not a powerful opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master Fortuno and the others. I'll get a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? Quite the quandary. Somewhere there is at least one. Aha! Offering to help? That's very kind, but I should be able to organise the rest of the documents by myself. It's mostly lists of things we need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as our new home. My duties largely concern the maintenance of living conditions, so I'll be a lot busier after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. I'm looking forward to finally meeting them in person after having communicated with them in such a limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I've not even the slightest idea what they would look like. I do hope they're not enormous looming giants. Well, I would much prefer something small and fluffy, like that behatted rabbit that run by. Well, as your luck might have it, this is going to be too far away, isn't it? In fact, is this one that I've already checked? Yeah, it probably is. Oh, speaking of the devils. Ho ho ho, what a joy to sample the delights of Etheris. How marvellous it is to see you again. You'll be pleased to hear I've learned much since our fascinating discussion at the crematorium. It's all thanks to Urianger, you see. He taught me the finer points of cooking, which, despite my name, I knew very little about. So many dishes, so many hard-to-pronounce words. Actually, I was rather hoping he'd show me how to bake an Archon loaf. They're quite popular, I hear, though it doesn't sound like it contains many flavours to speak of. Still, if that's the sort of thing your kind enjoys, I shall make enough to last the whole journey. No, please no. Crikey, I wasn't expecting to see you here, Demigen. I'm sorry I didn't have the chance to say goodbye and for having those other Loporrits attack you. Terrible misunderstanding, that. Not to worry, though, as all have since recovered from the rather savage beating you administered. They bear you no ill will. Well, perhaps a little on account of the savagery, but time heals all wounds. Most, anyway. It would appear the Loporrits have infiltrated Charlian's most heavily guarded facility. How, I know not. Fancy meeting you here, Demigen. Our friends in the forum brought us to see their teeny tiny toy boat, which is quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we're really interested in is Etheris itself, though we now find ourselves in a sort of funny underground miniaturised version of it. We were hoping the forum would give us a guided tour, but it appears they're rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to prepare and they're still not ready. Says you. I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we were planning to do until we chanced upon Urianger and your good self. Since you're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us a few points of interest. Wouldn't that be fun? Yes. Absolutely. Try as he might, Urianger cannot free himself from the Loporrits. A tour of Labyrinthus? An unexpected yet prudent suggestion. Given the similarities betwixt this artificial environment and Bestway's burrow, it would be in our best interest to have the Loporrits acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Charlayan collaborators. I fear, however, that continued reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspectives. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture. Oh yes, trying to fob it off on us, are you? What a marvellous idea! Might we begin with that great big what's-it over yonder? Ah, yes. The what's-it. I shall leave its explanation to Demigen. Screw you, Urianger. You git. This is all very intriguing, I'm sure, but where are the food preparation stations? What was your word for it? Kitchens. That reminds me, Puddingway, our newly appointed chief pudding researcher, a discipline he himself founded after sampling Urianger's delights, has gone in search of Etheris' ultimate sweet treats. Well, provided it's a pudding, as that's all he ever talks about these days. Have you seen him? I have not. My word, what magnificent architecture! Such immaculate curvature! I fear I'll have to make several adjustments to my work if I'm to match this degree of craftsmanship. I shall leave no corner unrounded. Yes. Considering Stingway and Growaway's specialities, I expect them to pay full attention to your explanations, which I'm sure will be most informative. Goodness me! To build something so large without creation magics is positively stupendous. Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features. What are we looking at? The elevator room. Search the apparatus for points of potential interest. They're going to use the Amy device. What are you doing here? You spot an ambystoma, an especially lively one at that. It would appear the concept you observed in another time and another place was approved for life in the wider world, somehow. Interesting. Observe the mushroom-like thing. I can't. I can look at the metallic tube. Is that water I hear from inside that great big tube? It must be because of those cogs and that gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see. That's how they draw up the water. There's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanism inside it too. Ah, this is the mushroom-like thing. I like the metal texture. That looks like the trees in Greatest Ensvale. Hold on, that's a bit of a strange shape. It's thin at the bottom but big and round at the top. Quite tall for something so unbalanced too. Now it makes sense. That's where they store the water. Yes. Tanks. It's a little hard to see from here, but is that a golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? And I can see through the window into the pipe at the bottom. Ah, this must be for purifying water drawn up from below. Yes. I guess. Well, if I were to hazard a guess, water drawn from underground, presumably with some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in that tower before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it! A brilliant design. A design brilliant in its simplicity. I dare say it would take only a moment to install in even the harshest of environments. For Slopperitz, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is of the utmost importance for any fledgling settlement. We have read, however, that peoples of Etheris sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive? Many settlements in Thanlan are built near an oasis. Areas near waterfalls are common sites for villages in Girobania. I mean, both of these work. So, wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear. I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amounts. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but it would appear they rely on it far more than we'd anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual. It may also be worth learning more about how exactly they obtain their water in the first place. Well, we've got water crystals that can produce it. Master Alphino spoke of the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logisticon Alpha, did he not? Maybe the Loperitz will share his appreciation for the engineering marvel. Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid. We must journey beyond the sanctuary of Charlene Hamlet. I shall lead the way. You mean we have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We couldn't help but notice the many dangerous-looking creatures with big nasty teeth lurking beyond the safe confines of this settlement. Were we not escorted here by burly custodians, I dread to think what would have become of us. Regrettably, to many a hungry predator with the aforementioned big nasty teeth, loprits may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. Might I impose upon thee to assist in securing safe passage to Logistic on Alpha? For my part, I shall act as escort to Living Way and Cooking Way. I entrust Singing Way and Growing Way to thy care. Sure. Go on, I'll help out the little buggers. A more valiant protector they could not wish for. Godspeed. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be eaten by some horrid beastie. Come along, Growing Way, to the water extraction what's-its. Just that little shake of the head there. I think that was probably more to do with just how the animations linked together. Northwest. Oh no, an anala. An anala. I don't know. You sense a hostile presence. Shocking. Otherwise, so they should just eat it. And you're out of here. I say, that fiend had a mind to feast on roasted loprit. Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction what's-it is worth these harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, some might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if it's all the same to you. I'd rather you didn't get burnt to a crisp as well, if I'm honest. That was all very exciting, but I'd rather not do it again. Wait, how exactly were we planning to head back later? You've done well to see those two here safely. They can be a bit skittish at the best of times, so I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't run off and get themselves killed. I couldn't help noticing a distinct lack of carrots along the way, or many of the other vegetables I was expecting to see, though I did catch a glimpse of some sort of bipedal tomato charging about. Must be my imagination. No, that would be a mandragora probably. Let's get moving. That building looks nice and solid and safe. My friends, I bid you welcome to Logisticon Alpha. Our destination doth lie at the lift's top. Pray follow me. There's also some ether currents up there. And this may be a good time to grab them. At least we now get to use the lifts as much as we want. Forgive me for asking, but are we any closer to the kitchens? Come to think of it, why am I even here? Atmospheric manipulators are hardly my area of expertise. On this occasion, 'twould behoove us to seek the counsel of those qualified to describe the workings of the apparatus. They may also be in possession of schematics or other useful documentation should the loprits request them. As the foreign's esteemed guest, it is unlikely they would be refused, yet thou knowest as well as I the changeable dispositions of Charlatan bureaucrats. Truth? That was terrifying! At least the scenery was more pleasant than what's name, Garlemald. As a first impression of Atheris, it was far from favourable. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Quite literally, as is the case here. As I understand, places like Labyrinthus are the exception rather than the rule. You don't all build enormous underground living spaces like this, surely. Marvellous! Simply marvellous! So this is where the magic, or science rather, takes place? The perfect environment to sustain life, artificially created. The knowledge we'll gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars for your kind to inhabit. Apparently, most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that Atheris just so happens to provide everything you need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way they are because of the available resources, I wonder? Either way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. Oh yeah, I'd forgotten I'd got... Right, I had to grip the legs, and... Ugh. Insufficient armoury chest space. Oh! Oh, well, we're back to, we're back to how we started, including the frilly knickers. Wonderful. Cooking way! Eager for a change of venue, or at the very least, a change of what's it. This is all very wonderful, I'm sure, but I was rather hoping to learn more about your nourishment provision facilities. In other words, where's the food? I believe both the knowledge and consumables you seek may be found at Merial Agronomics. At some point, I'm going to pronounce that word right. As I imagine Singingway and the others intend to study every conceivable facet of the apparatus, would thou be so kind as to escort our village visiting culinarian? Yes, that sounds much more interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to see firsthand some of the delicacies Uriange was telling me about. Even his incredibly vivid if a bit too verbose. Descriptions cannot compare to sampling them myself. Not to mention the thirst will suit me no more, so I must learn all there is all I can while there's still time. Let us brook no further delay. And off he pops. Time for a cooking tour, Cooking Way. This is the place, yes. The heady aroma was enough to guide me here, and I've spotted several of the fruit and vegetables featured in our compendium. I'd dearly love to try some, but I read that those who help themselves to a farmer's crops without permission are often caught and put in pies. What books have you been reading? Perhaps you could ask whoever's in charge if they were willing to part with a few samples? Cooking Way is now accompanying you. Come, my tiny loppered friend. Let us show you some of the delights. ENDWALKER. Oh, a fine mess this is. Ah, it's you, the one who climbed down the mine shaft. I'd show you around if I could, but I rushed off my feet preparing for the exodus. I'm not the only one. We've all got to find ways to do what we can, what we do down here up there. We've all got to find ways to do what we do down here up there. First on the moon, then on whichever star the form decides will become our new home. It's all so sudden, so unreal. Don't you want to go to the moon? Well, it's better than waiting for the final days to claim us. But no matter how carefully it's all planned, we'll never be able to take every variety of flora and fauna with us. Even the ones we can take may not survive in these new environments. So many species doomed to extinction. Sorry, that's not what you came to talk about, is it? Nothing quite so dire, I assure you. We merely wish to sample a little of your produce, if we may. By all means, help yourself. Much appreciated, my good fellow. So, where to begin? Where indeed to begin? The grapes. Oh, I know what these are. Grapes, yes. Let's see if they are as delicious as they look. So sweet, so sour. The taste is much like a ripe philosopher's carrot, and yet the texture is entirely different. The contrast between the outer skin and the fruit within is most peculiar, though far from unpleasant. Yes, I think I'll try another. It's a really good description of grapes, actually. Well, that's certainly given me food for thought, though in a far less visceral manner than any philosopher's carrot. But tell me, what is your opinion of grapes? I'd brave an erupting volcano for a choice bunch. I actually really do like grapes. Big fan of grapes. Can't stand raisins. Do love grapes. Yes, they are rather moorish, aren't they? But from what I've read, quite versatile too. Something about people stepping on them to make intoxicating beverages, as I recall. No, that wasn't anything that I was thinking when I was thinking of grapes. Nope, not me. No, that's enough about grapes for the time being. On to the next treats. What next? Apples. Oranges. Some things. Orange by name, orange by nature. What came first, the fruit or the colour? Who cares? Let's eat. Yes, that's... Equal parts sweet and sours with the grapes, yet nothing alike. I may have to consult Uriange about expanding my vocabulary. No, don't do it. I simply cannot find the words to describe it. Perhaps what I'm looking for is bitter. This is all very complicated, you know. So many flavours, so many choices, and each individual with their own personal preferences. Now I see why you all turned your noses up at the idea of eating nothing but carrots. Marvellous though they still are in my estimation. Let no one say I said otherwise. Ah, but speaking of carrots, I've yet to sample any of the vegetables. Let's see what's in that field over there. This is surprisingly entertaining. It's like we're going on a tour and we're showing a rabbit some vegetables. And yet, it's very entertainingly written. Pumpkins. That colour. That texture. Are they some sort of enormous round carrots? No. No? In any case, proper nomenclature is less of a concern than the taste. Yeah, it's so hard and flavourless. I may as well be chewing a piece of wood. That all but confirms it. These are nothing more than misbegotten failures masquerading as goodly carrots. Stop, stop, stop. Don't you see these are pumpkins? No one with any sense would try eating them raw. You're supposed to cook them first. Do you not find it an awful bother? Far from it. Cooking is a joy unto itself. What's more, it broadens the range of ingredients that we may safely eat. But above all else, cooking allows us to draw out the full potential of our produce. Pumpkin stew has been one of my favourite dishes for as long as I can remember. Then perhaps these hard blocks of plant matter can become as delicious as the orange I sampled. I wonder though, if there is anything even more delicious. How about that yellow fruit over yonder? What yellow fruit? Well, these lemons. They're going to be a surprise for you. Ah, what a wondrous fragrance. With luck, it'll have flavour to match. As I've no idea how those are eaten, I'll just bite it. My tongue! Is this poison? A lemon? You mean it's supposed to taste like this? How could something so similar to an orange be so revolting? Ugh, maybe some time before my palate recovers from this ordeal. As such, I'd best call an end to this round of sampling. Let's say our farewells and return to the others. That was awesome. I enjoyed that. Finished, have you? I trust you found something to your liking. I'm rather enamoured with the grapes and oranges. Less so the pumpkin, though I've learned the hard way they're not to be eaten raw. Then there was the lemon, the deceiver. I feel so violated. Lemon's the deceiver. First time, was it? I'd hate for you to leave with a bad taste in your mouth in more ways than one. So I'll give you this lemon muffin I baked. This doesn't change your opinion, nothing will. More lemon? Have I not suffered enough? Nevertheless, it would be remiss of me to spurn this opportunity. Oof, but a sick came up there. Learn more of your inscrutable ways. Very well, lemon muffin, do your worst. ... This is delicious. Although I still detect a hint of lemon, it complements the sweetness of the dough to create a perfect harmony. I never would have guessed its vile bitterness could be so utilised so elegantly. My good chap, this is simply breathtaking. See? We rarely use lemon in its natural state, but it has a stirring role in all sorts of recipes, and the same is true for many other ingredients. It comes down to making the most of the resources at our disposal, and sometimes that can even be the difference between life and death. I know we won't be able to take every species with us. No doubt the former agonised over what was worth preserving and what will be consigned to history. Hard choices, but make them we must if we're to survive. Such strength of will. Now I know what Heidelin sees in your kind. Aww. Mankind, the Loporits, we were both born from the accumulated knowledge of the ancients. They learned all there is to learn about the nature, sentient life, and the fate of the stars themselves. Once a civilization has fulfilled the basic requirements for survival, it will inevitably seek to eliminate all forms of negativity and achieve perfection. And therein lies its folly and its downfall. For perfection is an unattainable ideal. It is the paradox of the immaculate carrot. Yet civilization since time immemorial have deemed the pursuit of perfection as progress. They pay no heed to the costs incurred in their futile quest, and all too often become the architects of their own demise, their dreams forever unfulfilled. What then is the alternative? The answer lies in knowing that our existence can never be perfect, to be content with what we have and make the most of it. When life gives you lemons, make lemon muffins! Yes. Close. Pardon my Urlsum, but why the 7 L's are you on about? And who are you anyway? Cooking away, at your service. I'm here to help prepare for the trip to the moon. And once you get there, you'll be able to try my carrots. I've been growing all different kinds. But don't worry, there'll be room for your other crops too. We'll work together to preserve as many of Aetheris' species as possible, if you're up to the challenge. Yes, of course. I look forward to it. Well then, this has all been highly productive, probably. Let's go see if Uriange and the others have run out of machinery to inspect, shall we? These boots don't really work with the rest of this outfit. In fact, I'm not entirely sure they'd work with anything that I'd wear. I hadn't noticed them because they've been... Whoa, hello, Rathalos. Because they've been covered up, but... That was most enlightening, especially the part with the lemon muffin. Actually, I was wondering, do you know of any other places famed for their cuisine? Labyrinthus is home to the Culinarians Guild and many less than savoury establishments. The Far East is oodles of noodles. I love Chinese food. Would that I had time to visit. The more I learn of Aetheris, the more I wish we could spare it from the final days. Alas, Heideland's orders us to flee, not to resist. Only there was some other way. If only. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.